Welcome, welcome. What's going on, guys? Welcome, welcome. It's here, Drake. Don't worry, Renee. Tom actually does his videos on his Sunday night classes. Easy, it's me. It's Air Drake. Don't worry. You'll get to see Tom on Sunday night. Just a brief recap today. Nothing crazy. Probably be about a quick 10-minute video. And then, of course, I'll address my small account challenge. I'm sure everyone has questions about that. What's going on, Izzy? Izzy, you know the funny part is I'm actually a little bit of short of breath right now, which I don't understand why. It's a little weird, but I'm alright though. CLB? It's a pretty early request, but let me see what it is. Industrial services? Hold on, let me take a look. Very defined downtrend. Actually broke the downtrend. It's a very defined downtrend. Actually broke it. Looks like it's about to retest. Hopefully it actually holds this level right around 2673. I would probably say to be safe 2659 that would be. Just around 2664. You would want to see it hold right there if it's holding this level of consolidation on that breakout. And then we'll see if we can get an uptrend started. Really would like to see that over the 50-day MA. And then you'll probably get a nice uptrend out of that. Welcome, welcome everyone. The Tamakaze. Hi. Oh, that's interesting. Is Tamakaze actually here? That's very interesting. First, before I get to the recap, let me get the small account out of the way. So I kind of give everyone an update. Small account hasn't been going too well. It is what it is. I think I got a little aggressive, which kind of is on my part. We'll actually bounce back though. Kind of played Tesla back-to-back days. That didn't work out too well. So I ended up, no, I like the momentum that it had yesterday. It didn't work out too well. After early in the morning yesterday, I profited off of Moderna it was. And then I took a late day trade on Tesla. That ended up didn't working out. Kind of got a little bit in my head with Avery kind of, getting that FOMO. We actually thought the momentum was there to this morning. So we ended up taking a trade on Tesla this morning. That didn't work out either. Market kind of pushed that down. And so Tesla didn't work out. Now, the bad part about playing Tesla today was that you kind of missed the entire downtrend of all of this. And that's what the concerning part is when you're actually not following the trend, which that was really what I didn't do. So I didn't follow the trend for the market, and I got caught up with thinking that there was momentum in Tesla. And by the time that I got out of Tesla, took that loss, no, the downside of the market was already there. So at that point, I'm not going to chase the downside. That's where Avery was also, he was trying to catch the bounce, hoping for that to try and get in the downside. But that's where you get misleading, where you want to end up chasing it. So I didn't chase the downside. Instead, I actually went with Facebook, which I'll show you the setup on Facebook that I actually saw. And it didn't work out that way. So that was pretty much a mental error on my part of not following the trend, kind of getting into the FOMO and the actual momentum thinking, no, the FOMO got to my head with Tesla. And I know Tamakaze actually got FOMO on Tesla at 1.2, so I don't want to hear that either. Because he did have that in his head. But the meme stocks actually got to him a little bit more. The little squeezing. Am I echoing? I don't think I'm echoing. Tom, I think it's just you. Yeah, I think it's definitely you. So, pretty much big picture. I ended up looking at long-term trend lines and resistance. This is where Facebook came into play and why I ended up taking Facebook. Ended up hitting resistance points 1, 2, 3, and it was approaching 4. Now, if I go in on the daily here and I actually zoom in, it was a double bottom that it ended up having. It ended up holding the 50-day a few days ago back on August 19th. You have the left bottom, right bottom, and it ended up holding a nice space right here, is what I intended on having there. So actually held that 13-day EMA. I was expecting that to hold right around that 377-ish mark, which it did close above. It closed me just out of the money, and I'm actually expecting the move to 380. So that's the move that I was expecting going into tomorrow. Kind of more of a V-shaped recovery today. It didn't happen that way. I think I'm down about 20% or so, somewhere right around where my stop loss would have been. So I'll take that loss if that be the case. Hoping to, worst case scenario, I'll close on my small account at 1,000. Probably, get a fresh restart going into next week, and we'll see how that goes. But aside from that and the small account, that's pretty much what the mental error was. Besides Tesla playing out the way it did, and then taking Facebook and realizing after the fact on not having a day trade. And I didn't want to do a ghetto spend, so I was like, I'll leave it as is. Worst case, I'll cut my loss and we'll move from there tomorrow morning. Let's see. As far as what actually hit today, I know we had a rapid on Apple put. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. There was some, yeah, we actually had breakout alerts today. Not AMC. Nobody really cares about AMC. But although AMC was only down $1, I wonder if Tay actually is still holding AMC. That would be interesting. Yeah, there was some bearish rapid flow on Apple. Apple, of course, that wasn't looking too great today. And it was kind of expected after the run that it just had leading into the news of the Apple event. That was kind of expected. It's actually holding pretty well. It bounced right off of that 21-day EMA. We'll see what it does tomorrow. I'm kind of expecting more of a relief rally tomorrow. Um, Regardless, whatever the jobless claims data is tomorrow. But that actually held a little bit well than I expected. Other than that, let's see, a leap alerts. We had Spot. I think Tom was actually mentioning he thought it was Kathy that was loading up. Kathy was loading up on Spot, which is probably true. Other than that, we had Tesla. There was actually rapid flow on Tesla. I think that was the one spike that actually held me, kept me inside of it, and I ended up just taking that loss. Let's see. For tuna alerts, I know there was three. There was a three-time alert on Apple as well when it actually hit the bottom at one point when it was down. I think about $3, near $3. And I think actually someone in the server alerted that Darian was actually mentioning it, and I think Dan actually got into it, and it actually popped and kind of did a nice recovery. Minor flow, nothing there to look at really much. Major flow, there was some bullish calls on Boeing. That was kind of expected. I didn't really like that Boeing one though. When I took a look at it, I think when I was, yeah, I actually looked at the consolidation there. It was in a nice range. I would have liked to see how it actually got to the where that resistance level is, and then I think we were talking about on live where it could end up getting right close to this 213 level would be where I was looking at, if indeed if it ended up bouncing, and it also has a gap fill right around below that as well. If we see that gap right around this area, but I don't like playing bowling like that. The news that it recently had, it kind of just feels like it would be a dead cat bounce if it ended up breaking this sideways channel and getting to that gap. And then that 213 was ultimately like our target. But that was just a side note. Didn't end up taking that. Other than that, more of the algo alerts, there wasn't much that was more entertaining than that. Wait, you took a $2,400 loss on Tesla today? I didn't know that, Tom. Oh, you still made five. Yeah, all your little squeeze stocks. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. Tom actually hit pretty nice on SPRT right into close. That was a beautiful move right there. I got to give you credit on that one. That was a beautiful move. I think once it broke right around this level right here, right into close, that just took off and it was gone. And the next thing I know, I just heard Tom saying, "Holy SPRT," and it was just gone by the time I looked at it. So yeah, if once it broke over that 2063 level, it was practically gone. I do expect to see continuation on that. I'm not gonna lie. Going out to a larger time frame, I think there was a certain level that I was particularly looking at. 4 hours a little too large. Probably right here where this gap fill is. I think that's when the FOMO will really kick in. Once it gets over this gap fill right here, right around that 31 level will be where I think it's gonna go. Probably go crazy. I didn't even know you put 12K. Not bad. But I think that 31 level is really the bigger picture. I think Tom is actually thinking that it's going to triple digits. I think if it gets over that 31 level, the FOMO and the volume will kick in. I don't know about triple digits though. We'll see about that. But that was definitely a nice one. Other than that, I know that everyone kind of swung BBIG also. BBIG had a nice move. It was a pretty nice gap. I think if you actually did it with shares, I think it paid off a little bit more because of how it just gapped down right at open. That probably hurt the premium. But if you actually held and ended up making a new high, but you would have actually really had to hold that, I think it's actually going to fill this gap right down below here. And I do think that, was it Thomas that actually mentioned he's expecting it to be red tomorrow? I think once it completes this gap down to about 970, that's when that'll be a load the boat zone right there. And we'll end up seeing what it does. If it ends up getting back over that $10 mark, I think 1037 will be the level. Right around this level right here. So once it fills that gap, I will see it get back over that 1037 level. 1037. And that's where I think it'll get more interesting for BBIG. But it needs to fill that gap. So likely Thomas will be right. It'll probably be a red day tomorrow. And it'll fill that gap down. Other than that, I think that was pretty much most of the day. I know that we're also circulating talking about the Amazon news that came out. Amazon had that news. Amazon was actually looking really nice. It's just that the market actually killed the momentum behind it. But the news that Amazon ended up having, it ended up affecting Shopify. Shopify was down. Oof, it actually closed down lower than I expected. It was down 50 points when I actually looked at it earlier. Now it's down 58. Wow. And then also Square and PayPal got impacted by that as well. I looked at Square, I think that was earlier in the morning. It was down about, it was around the 260 range. And it dropped all the way back down. Down $11 on the day. That was horrible. And then the other one was PayPal, which I actually didn't even realize. PayPal was only down, made a nice little recovery. It was down as much as about close enough to $10. Not bad. The funny part was that PayPal was actually up about $6 pre-market, and then ended up giving back all its gains after that news came out with Amazon, which is crazy. Other than that, I think we're pretty much just waiting for jobless claims tomorrow. We'll see what that does. I'm not really expecting anything from that. We'll see what that really does for the market tomorrow. I kind of expecting a relief bounce tomorrow, whether that be early in the day and then we continue the downtrend. We'll see, because Nasdaq is not looking too pretty, and I haven't updated my charts either on Nasdaq. But we ended up breaking down. We ended up going back into my wedge that I had, and now it looks like we're gonna end up going back down, and we'll see if we probably get it right around this area here, where there was a prior gap that it just gapped down. Yeah, there's a gap that it ended up having right here. We'll probably get right back down to that gap overnight here, and then we'll see if we end up getting a nice bounce. Probably we get an early bounce, maybe a little gap up in the morning, and then likely lower lows is what's going to be anticipated. Right. Other than that, I think that pretty much covers today's action. We covered pretty much my small account. Other than that, I'll be watching to see Amazon, see if there's any more momentum building behind Amazon. That's one that's definitely on the top of my radar tomorrow. I'm definitely not looking at Tesla, that's for certain. I'll probably let that calm down. I think I took too many trades on that for the meantime. I did see some nice call flow and some prints that came through on McDonald's also. So keep an eye on McDonald's tomorrow. I think that'll probably be on my watch list tomorrow morning. If I actually see, let me see what if there's a pattern developing here. Well, it's a defined resistance level, but it looks like a little bit of a wedge here. See if we kind of draw that wedge out. Give you an image of that. So I would look for it to hold right around that 230, close enough to 236 mark. And if we end up breaking right over this 239.63 level, right around there, I saw some 240 weeklies. You still hearing an echo? I think it's Tom. I definitely think it's Tom. Isn't this a brand new headset? Yeah, it is. But other than that, that was the only other thing I saw was prints coming on through McDonald's. Watching Amazon tomorrow, and then we'll pretty much see how Mega Cap does in general. The funny part was, and if you actually remember this from my recap yesterday, if I actually followed my recap yesterday, I mentioned how I wanted to get into Netflix yesterday. Well, rather this morning, and I wanted to see it fill this gap this morning, and I was actually watching it. It didn't get down to the gap, but by the time I ended up wasting a day trade on Tesla, I saw Netflix after the fact. And so when I actually saw Netflix, I ended up getting into my main account, and I took that red to green move, and it popped. And then that's what's horrible about the market right now. There's no momentum that actually kept it up. But that was just pretty much a recap of that from what my thought was yesterday. Other than that, I don't know why you guys have problems with my mic today all of a sudden. I think it's pretty much Tom being in the chat. Yeah, it's definitely Tom being in the chat. It has to be. All right, let's see. Let's see if something works.